Joining us now to discuss the debate and the update on the electoral bill and PDP's quest to wrestle power in Lagos are
Samson Itodo. Samson Itodo has joined us. Samson Itodo of Not Too Young to Run and YIAGA Africa, as well as Rita Orji, who is represented by Jerome Ifelodun constituency in the 8th National Assembly. Good to have you both join us on the program. Let me start with you. Let me quickly start with you first, since you're with us here in the studio. Rita, let me get your take regarding these two clauses that has been a bone of contention for the electoral bill. What's your initial thought?
Well, my take on this, if you really want democracy and transmission to go serially under the law, you cannot be a judge on your own cause. You got to leave that terrain so that your influence will not keep showing. It's showing in various places. When you will be a minister and you want to go for a position, you still sit down there as a minister. So automatically, you still have the power in your hands. You can influence a whole lot of things. So I think I'm in line with, if you want to go for that, you resign. Be on the field and let's move so that everybody will know what is the right thing to do. I don't really see anything bad in that incision anyway.
And he talks about the provision of consensus. You didn't really talk about that. Give us your view on that.
I think provision of consensus, I agree partly. If there is a consensus, sometimes there are areas where you don't have more, you have only one person coming up. He or she is not going in with anybody, it's automatically is a consensus candidate. But where consensus is bad is when you have a whole lot of people that want to contest for that and you impose. In other words, some of the words they use in consensus is imposition. If you have a higher ranking leader or you have somebody that is interested, they can stand up and impose. And they say it's consensus. But in the area of having a consensus where everybody agree that, oh, let's go for this, that's a pure consensus. I don't have anything bad about that. But where I have something to say about is about saying you are going for consensus when there are a whole lot of interest. Consensus should be when you have talked to everybody and they agree. You now have a consensus, not when there is still if there's a dissenting voice, there is no consensus. It should be an open field stuff. That's what I believe. As a lawyer and as a lawmaker too, then that is it.
So Samson Itodo, would like to have your thoughts too on the reworked electoral bill that has been sent to the president for assent.
First is to commend the National Assembly for its processes within the timelines that citizens set for the National Assembly to conclude this process. The bill has gone to the president. We expect that the president will assent to the bill expeditiously to fast-track the preparations for the 2023 elections, as well as the off-cycle elections. Yes, the National Assembly did introduce new clauses, and some of the clauses that were introduced were geared towards providing safeguards on the new procedure that the National Assembly introduced, which is consensus candidates. Our position is that consensus candidates would lead to marginalization and exclusion of a cross-section of the our political class. And in this case, it will be women, youth, and young persons with disability, especially given the power asymmetries in political parties and the weak state of our political parties. These are parties that are led by individuals and politicians who have no regard, for democratic principles and values. So introducing consensus will definitely pose a threat to the emergence of competent aspirants in running for office. And I'd like to also, comment on the point around the clause that political appointees shall not be delegates in a party congress or be qualified to be voted for in any convention for candidate nomination. I am totally in support of that particular provision because what it does is it addresses what is an undemocratic practice within our political process, where individuals who occupy public office use, state machinery to run for office, especially when they are not even elected officials. I think that Nigerians should support this particular insertion by the National Assembly. If a political appointee wants to run for office, he or she should resign their position and go and campaign. If they win the elections, they assume office. If they don't, if the appointing authority deems it necessary to reappoint them, that person can run that. So I'm totally in support of that that particular provision.
Okay, Honorable Orji, let's ask you some more questions, moving away from the Electoral Amendment Act bill and into the 2023 elections. We have a variety of candidates who have thrown their hats into the ring. Can you give us just a summary or your opinions on some of the candidates and their willingness to win the presidency in 2023?
Well, within PDP, wow. There are a whole lot of them coming now. I think we've not had lots of them. Many people are coming in, Bukola Saraki, Tambo, a whole lot of people are coming in. But my own take on this is that as a politician, as a lawyer, as a Democrat, the best paid we are going for, those below 60. For me, I would never ascribe to dragging a position with my own daughter. No matter how learned I am, my daughter will be more bigger than me. That's what we wish our children. So my own take is whoever that wants is their fundamental human right to aspire. But the heartbeat and situation we have seen ourselves in Nigeria shows that any lover of Nigeria will never go to old men as going out for presidency again. Biden is a wonderful president, but age is telling on him. So it's not that he's not performing his well, but there are things age will stop you from doing. Whether you like it or not, we don't grow forever. Like seas, you cannot flow up. You come down at the end of the day. So whoever that is coming out, fine, but you must be, and you would learn that Nigeria need those who will do a marathon work for Nigeria to move, not those who will go 1 week and they'll take vacation of sickness in the other week. It doesn't work.
Samson, I would like you to react to what Honorable Rita Orji just said. Is leadership about age or about capability, competence, and even experience?
Well, leadership it's more than age. It's about competence. It's about capacity. Nigeria deserves a leadership that is transformative, that is not transactional, and that can provide innovative response to our numerous challenges. Now, what that requires is individuals, both men and women and persons with disability, who have the tenacity, the courage, and the ability to harness the potential within our society to advance development. But can age be a factor? The truth is, yes, age can be a factor that determines, who gets into office. And why is this important? If you look at running the affairs of state, it requires individuals who have, the energy, who have the intellectual capital, who have the moral capital, to run and lead the people. We've seen cases, and even the President Buhari has said it times without number, about his age, that he's aging and he's old and he doesn't have the stamina, to sit for long hours of meetings and provide that agility that public leadership requires, especially for a developing country like Nigeria that requires energetic individuals to run the affairs of state. So, and you can only find that, within a younger population and a younger generation. And I strongly support that, we need to adopt an age-based classification to people who assume certain leadership position, whilst also recognizing that old people, yes, do have a right to vie for office. But I think Nigeria is actually at a time where it needs a fresh, energetic, innovative young people to get into office so they can leapfrog our development. And I dare say with all sense of responsibility that these old politicians should retire, go and rest with their families, their grandkids, and leave, public office for younger people who have the moral, the competence, and the capability. And so they can provide services as statesmen who provide advice when called upon. But this is not to all members of the political class or the old political class, because there are some old politicians who are responsible, for the decadence, the failure of leadership, and the poor state of our development. Those kinds of people should not even have any, and we shouldn't even tolerate them in our political process, beginning from 2023 and moving forward.
All right, then, Samson, let me quickly bring in Rita once again to comment, because I saw her nodding her head as you were speaking. But Rita, apart from your positive affirmations of what Samson has said, I still want to go back to PDP, especially for the quest to wrestle power here in Lagos. I wanted you to comment on that and actually touch on that very briefly as well.
It's long overdue. Lagos has yearned for PDP for a whole lot of time. I think the clear indication in Lagos is that maybe you guys are not politicians. We really don't lose Lagos State. That is one gist about PDP in Lagos. The problem we have in PDP in Lagos State is the problem of thuggery, problem of hijack by the ruling party. It wasn't that PDP normally lose. We don't lose. And now that we have younger, strong, and vibrant governor like Seyi Makinde in the Southwest, I think the quest of rescuing Lagos is as easy as by the grace of God, because what he had done in Oyo State, if we could be able to emulate and let it be in Lagos. Lagos is yearning for PDP anyway. Who is it that doesn't want PDP in Lagos State? I don't know whether it's you, but everybody in Lagos State that sleeps and wakes up knows that the only savior that can save Lagos State is PDP, because when you are aging, you are a fanatic. APC is aging now, so what they do is different. But PDP is a younger, vibrant party here right now that is looking for what to show. Oh, this is us and these are these people. That's what we are going for. When they give us a chance, I think things are going to happen in Lagos State and there will be a positive response. I've been here more than 30-something years, so I'm not just a neophyte or a younger politician that doesn't know. We know from the extent Lagos State went into oblivion. We are there. And by the grace of God, PDP is going to restore that hope when given the opportunity by the Lagosian, and I hope they will.
All right, well, Samson, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to that, and not just particularly the PDP within Lagos. I want to give your assessment on both parties, APC and the PDP. We know both are, there are other parties out there, but in particular, your assessment of how they're faring right now.
I think that I'll look at the positive. So both parties seem to have recognized that this is the time for young people to take the reins of power at different levels. And you can see that both parties have adopted a strategy. They've changed their language. They're speaking more to young people and creating spaces. I am very aware that there are several efforts at the different party levels to ensure young people are nominated and they secure party tickets in the 2023 elections. I think they need to go beyond that to doing three things. One, it's about internal democracy within the parties and how the leadership of the parties are selected. Is it by consensus, or do members of the parties do have a say in the way leaders are elected? The second is how candidates are going to emerge within the remits of the procedure that the electoral bill has provided. Will those processes, be transparent? Would they be based on democratic ethos and principles? These are the kinds of conversations that we hope the parties will uphold. And the third, it's actually, the cost of politics. You can see that both parties have adopted a strategy to continue to commercialize the electoral process. If they are concerned about reform, and they're concerned about transparency, the commercializing of our elections will begin from the parties. The amount of fees that peg for candidate nomination forms as well as expression of interest forms will speak volume. One of the provisions in the electoral bill is to the effect that parties can no longer impose additional criteria, save for the criteria highlighted in the Constitution. We hope that the parties will stick to this particular provision because it is a progressive provision, if you ask me. So it's about whether the parties, both parties, are willing, to play the game by the rules. By the end of the day, it's about the Nigerian people who will make the choice that at the State House of Assembly, the governors and the National Assembly and down to the president, that they are making choices based on the party that represents their interest and the party that have demonstrated that they have, they have respect for the basic tenets of democracy.
Well, Honorable Orji, you said that Lagos State is yearning for the PDP, and I would not say I agree or disagree with that, but one thing I know is that Nigerians have tasted PDP at the federal level, and I know it was because they were dissatisfied, and yearning for change that they switched to the APC. So if we use that, to measure or to judge or to compare, why then would you say, that Lagosians are yearning for the PDP when we have tasted the first time, and they didn't get what they were looking for?
Very true. They have tested, and you will be a witness. You're a Nigerian too. What is it that they were yearning for they didn't get? What they got from the APC is worse than nightmare. In fact, what the yearning you see then was organized and orchestrated propaganda against the People's Democratic Party leadership at the national level. Let me digress a little. When it comes to national, there are a whole lot of things people were talking about then. They were saying fuel price is 70 what? What is the fuel price right now? Rice was 7,000 naira. What's the price now? 37 or 40? I am saying, what is it that they tested that they didn't like? There is nothing like that. A whole lot of some people packed themselves. I call them association of some interested fellows, strange bait fellows. They put themselves together, and what they used was media to pull down the only breathing space of Nigerians called People's Democratic Party government, because that was the only government that gave us whatever we wanted. And now, the one we have right now, if you talk, you die. What they have given to Nigeria is fear, poverty, pains, agony, everything, hunger, strife, bloodshed. Those are the things they have packaged as a change. Unfortunately, Nigerians did not ask what kind of change they were looking for. We are here in Lagos, in the field that was shut down when announcement of 75 naira fare was done. Whole lot of people that shut down this Gani Fawemi Stadium then. All of them right now, how much is the fear? And why is it that this conspiracy of silence everywhere? Because they shouted and removed PDP, not because PDP was bad, but because some interested fellows want to take power by all means, whatever it costs. And they got it, but they are not prepared. That is why fuel is, I don't know whether it's up to 200 naira or 300 naira, I don't know. Gas, the last time the gas I bought in my house, if I said, let me check onto coal, 10 kg gas is 10,500 naira. What is the cost when PDP was there? How many are the states? Look at the governors of all the 36 states. Where do you see life? Go to your state, for goodness sake. They are not in the Tory state. They are not in NDDC. But Makinde has turned that state to something else. I call that state a Dubai of Nigeria. He's a PDP governor. So when you look at what Nigerians we are told, they were all lies, powerful lies, and it's like a sepulchre. You paint outside, you get in, is a rotten bone. That is what the ruling party gave to Nigerians in order to send PDP out. Thank God I'm alive, and thank God some of them are now confessing and begging God for forgiveness. How many forgivenesses have you gotten online? A whole lot of them are still confessing. begging Nigerians to forgive because they sold the rotten maggot. This is not only maggot, this is, you don't know where to hold it from. You are talking about healthcare, terrible. You are talking about light, worst. Insecurity, terrible. Look at the road. How many hours will it take you to come for? If you don't wake up by 3 a.m., this is not what is obtainable when Lagos was here. When Lagos was under the Goodluck Jonathan was the president, at least I worked as a essay to Minister of Works then on Federal Road. I know definitely that all the federal roads in Lagos were receiving attention. Today, where are you going from? You can't. If you don't wake up by 2 a.m., Jesus will be your help. I left my house earlier today because I have to leave by 8 o'clock to come to this studio. Was it like that? All the orchestrated plans, anarchy put together, porridge of lies, garnished with what is this? Garlic, melon, watermelon, put together, and it was shiny. Until when you test it, you know that it is bitter. Nigerians are groaning in pains. They didn't say they lost. Everybody's complaining. In fact, we are coming back 2023. That's not gainsaying. Everybody has dashed the hope of looking at the change that was not explained. This change is a vague change, a change that doesn't exist.
Well, Honorable Rita Orji, thank you so much. I'm sure this is a conversation that will continue. Samson Itodo, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.